Alright, once again, I want to welcome us to this edition of our programs on pet media and events. I think it's an interview series. And so I'm here with another wonderful personality, a man that for me has gotten himself a name, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. And I'm sure that we can agree with us that he's doing very well. And so I don't need to talk much. So the best I can do is to allow him, tell us who he really is, the status that he has attained, and then we can take it off from there. Dr. Maybe, sir.
Let me say thank you for this great opportunity. I want to say that I'm really very flattered with your opening remark. I know.
But that is you.
So, first of all, let me start by my person. The name is Charles Ayuk Nsor. I'm from Cross River State, and I am a staff presently of Gombe State University, and of course we are seated in my office. I've been in academics since 2009.
Okay. Prior
to that, I worked with the Federal Capital Authority, FCT, during the time of Nsor. I worked there as area forest officer. I was posted to head the Buhari office, which was a regional office reporting directly to the director of forestry under the Agricultural Rural Development Secretariat. So I put in about 5 years there, and my desire to further my academics led me to the Nigerian Mountain Forest Festival, where I met the lady that would become my professor during my doctoral studies.
Okay.
First of all, after graduating from University of Calabar, maybe I should start there.
Yes, I think that would be better.
Something really happened during my university days. I never realized the leadership thing in me, and from the perspective of people assessing you as an individual, I became the first botanical science president. Before now, we had what we call biological science. So I'm talking about the early 90s.
Okay.
So I started university around 93. And then before then, it was biological science department. So there was nothing like botany department, zoology, and the likes. So some colleagues during agitation to come up with a union, having heard that the university authority has approved the breakup of the component units. So we had officially botanical department of botany, and that was how I won the election to become the president of the association. It was the first time we had a recognized department of botany in the University of Calabar, and I was the first president to be in charge of that student union or association. So after that, I realized that there was some leadership streak in me. When I finished from University of Calabar, I went to serve in the Ebonyi State. So while there, I wasn't interested in the politics of corpers and all that. Somehow again, I was beckoned to be, I don't know what to call it now, like liaison officer.
Yes, platoon.
Not platoon leader. Now you're in a local government, in charge of the something like that. So I was given that, and I never went for it. So basically, I'm trying to say there is something I believe God is telling me. I need to work on that. I've always lived in the midst of people, and most times effortlessly I get to be leading one way or the other. So from Unical, I worked first in the private sector. From the private sector, I moved on to Cross River State. I studied initially and handled business int'l. We were the authorized representative of int'l, which was a government effort at going into communication. Then there were the likes of Econet Wireless, now Airtel, MTN, Globacom, and the like. So we took int'l to the hinterlands, local governments. Of course, the catch then was they are going to log it onto the existing NITEL grids. So I did that for about 2 years, and then I got a scholarship to study, do a master's in conservation biology. That is where I developed the interest of ornithology, because because the whole thing centered around mythology, which is the tool we use to understand environment. And that was in 2005. And prior to that, I'd already gotten admission to do fisheries and aquaculture. I was almost at the verge of writing my examination. I took one course, and that course was economic fisheries and something I can recall now. So I moved on, did 1 year in Aplory, AP Leventis Ornithological Research Institute in Jos. It was fully sponsored, we were paid stipends, we had accommodation, everything was free. So I had that, and from there, I didn't have to wait for a job. I left after defending my MSc project, a job was waiting at forestry. That is the story. I will mute a little. From then, I realized I didn't just want to stop with a master's, and I needed that PhD. That is how, flipping backward again, Hazel Chapman was one of the many international resource persons that came to teach us at Aplory. We had people from all over the world, and she wanted to get a student that would work with her as a PhD candidate. And of the 3 persons that we had the interview, none met the criteria. So on her way out of Nigeria, we met at Murtala Mohammed, was it Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, where she quizzed me briefly. It's like, okay, I think you have the necessary motivation and intellectual ability to handle this. Now, recall I was still a staff of FCTA, and I still managed to make out time to go on independent research on Mambila too. And that was how we started pre-work towards a PhD. Eventually, she advised that I get a job with the university. So that was how I came to Bombay State University, and as Lord will have it, and divine providence smiled on me, I got a debt fund sponsorship to the University of Canterbury, New Zealand, where I was supposed to spend 4 years, but somehow God favored me. In 3 years I was done, and I returned back, and I put in the time I'm supposed to, and I'm still working on myself. So that's about my educational background.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I think that was a heavy one. I'm sure if we want to go on, I'm sure we're not going to leave here. But just very quickly, we know that you have invested a lot in the academic, but we're not want to focus on that for today. Outside the academic environment, what impact have you really created in the society? What other things do you do that you feel that can engage or can engage humanity?
All right, so I would say that I'm a people curious person. And by that I mean I always take interest in the other person, and I try to know how and what interests them and see the lines of interest that we have in common. So basically I've tried my hand in community service before business. I've always loved the corporate world. And in fact, when I went to Aplory, I was in suit and tie, then fresh out of the business world. Like I said, I was with int'l. And I was told you have to drop this khaki and put on your binoculars and khaki and stuff to do the field work. So that love of field started at Aplory in Jos. So I've done community services to the extent that I took deworming to children in Mambila, a very remote village. I dewormed those kids, about 300 of them. Okay. I've also participated in tree planting campaigns in some local governments in Gombe. I was invited to Kashere where we met the emir and some other dignitaries. We planted trees in places. I went to the emir of Duku. We've done that, and as a lover of nature, I also participated in bed clubs and projects. And then I have this interest in capacity development. So I do organize seminars where I talk to these people about my business interests and business ideas. And that also, by sheer providence, led me to an American-based company, Max International, where, of course, behind me you can see an award of a bronze certificate, which is the beginning of my ascent in that company. Presently, I'm a silver associate of Max International. There are medals attached, a bronze medal, a silver medal.
Okay, Doctor, let me quickly comment there. Talking about Max International, I think it's interesting. So what do you really do? What did you really do in Max International? And in one word, what do you think that this Max International have done for us, especially as Nigerians? Of course, you know the current situation we are as Nigerians. In fact, you can agree with us that there are relatively no jobs. Yeah. And so the best we can do for ourselves is to create jobs. And I think with that organization, that is tackling that. So, what is your focus? What does this stand for? What do you represent? And what do you intend to achieve?
So Max is a health and well-being company, and their flagship product is called Celgility. Now, the model, of course, the way business is going now is the network type approach to marketing. So they have that model where they empower you to empower others, and the chain spirals down the line. So I work with people, I recruit people, I am a registered associate, so I get people registered and they also plug in to get an extra income. So Max affords you the opportunity to do your regular 9 to 6 job, to be your own boss in whatever field. You could be a farmer, you could be
okay, so let me call this a comment. I think I'm enjoying the flow of the discussion, but again, we don't have to keep going. How do you really make money from this your firm?
Okay, so
because if I plug into your firm, of course, I believe that you're going to tell us how we can plug into your firm. Because do you have set links? Do you have a way to plug? Then if I plug into the firm, what do I expect in terms of making money?
right.
Because when it comes to money, the youths will be very interested. So, can you tell us a little about
Yes, so I would quickly say that Max gives you the opportunity to earn according to your abilities. So you can earn from as low as 2,000 naira to as much as 20 million a month. And this is no myth, it's no hype, it's real. The highest earning associate of Max International is a medical doctor who started Max in Ghana until Max moved 2 years after to Nigeria. So this guy presently is at the highest position in Max, that is Crown Diamond. As a Crown Diamond, every month you earn as much as 20 million, from 12 to 20.
So how do we get it?
So what to do is simply present yourself. You must have a personal why. That's what is unique about Max. Max will not just tell you, we are not salesmen, though we have products that end up in the hands of end users, but we ensure that the end users understand what they have in their hands. So you are a product of the product. So I take Max International, my mom takes Max International products, my wife takes Celgility, a product of Max International. So by that, we are products of the products. So to make money, first, you understand what this product is about. And the product in a nutshell, because that is the only reason you understand why I would say perhaps you should register. The product is about an active antioxidant called glutathione, which is needed by every adult. Once your glutathione level is optimal, you enjoy good health, because every cell of the human body requires glutathione to function optimally. And what is a cell? The smallest unit of a life capable of independent existence, performing a specific function. From cell, you have tissue, you have organ, you have a system. A system works consecutively with other systems like digestive, respiratory, to make a human being. A healthy human being, therefore, needs a healthy cell. From longevity, Celgility. So if the cells are healthy, the integral building blocks of a human, being healthy means the human will naturally have a healthy life. So with that knowledge, we tell you what you need to do. From 30 and above is a must use. Then you register, you talk to others, register them. As they buy products, you get paid for bringing them into the company.
All right, doctor, I think I can now understand the reason why you were awarded that honor as a doctor from your flow. So we'll keep on, and we'll keep proceeding. But again, I'm particularly interested in Nigeria. You know, trying to put up a firm like this in a country where, you know, things seem tough. I don't know if you have encountered challenges, are there challenges, and what do you think should be done?
Definitely.
What should government do? What's the role of government in terms of assisting, you know, these small scale businesses to see how we, you know, can factor ourselves into great development? Okay.
So to answer that question, I'll first redefine the model of Max. Max has all the licenses, they have all it takes to operate as a company in Nigeria. Now, for individuals like myself, we plug in. So it's a plug-in approach. Let's take, I'll digress a little, Coca-Cola Nigeria. This is a company that is well known, but you can become a distributor. So it's the same manner. Our own pattern is, once you plug in, you don't need a license in your state to operate the business. So some of those things that would, you know, choke out the life in small-scale businesses in a typical business model will not affect us. But the real problem we face is a country where some policies are not allowed to move smoothly because they have to go through the bottleneck. So as we speak, there are other components of the business that are not fully been approved to run, like the max beauty, because they are waiting for licenses. Like products like Meta Suite, we still have to bring them from Ghana. So government policy is one of the challenges we have. And the fear of starting. An average Nigerian is afraid to trust the next person with his money. Although in Max, you don't give me your money. We register you, allow you plug in, and then you deal directly with Max International. How do you do that? You can remotely buy products, place an order, and that's where my company comes in. I run a pickup center, which is one of 21 such pickup centers in Nigeria. So I kind of cover the Northeast region, and any other person that wants product delivered to their downlines, be it from Lagos. So I get calls from people in Lagos, like I have this customer in Bombay. Do you have social products? And the person walks in, pays to Max, and I charge a little fee, and he gets the product. So I am the link and the bridge to the closest place you can get our products, which is Abuja. For those in the southern region, it's Port Harcourt. Those in the western region, it's Lagos. So I bridge. The major problem I would emphasize by way of answering the question directly is the fear of the unknown.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. Doctor, I think this will be the last question perhaps. That is depending on how your response are going to come in. I think away from business, away from education. Your scope is very wide. You are well traveled, you are well schooled, and so I think that the opportunity will give to scholars like you to advise our country. You agree with me, Doctor, that over the years, Nigeria have not fully recovered from issues of insecurity. In fact, it's a major challenge. And so looking at insecurity, let us not remind it in any particular zone, because insecurity is like almost everywhere in Nigeria now. So what do you have to advise the government, or what role do you think that the government should approach in terms of tackling insecurity, as it's called and you can sum it up by having an overview of how the government of Nigeria operates, coupled with the fact that the attention of the country is gradually shifting into political ambition of 2023. So what do you have to say with regards to that, sir?
I'll simply say that if the government will call a spade, then we will be able to understand the context of punitive measures. A situation where things happen and the culprits are not brought to book, the law seems lame, and just screaming headlines, we will vow to get the perpetrators of this evil, and it ends up just sensational titles, will not allow us to get to the root of the crisis. Whatever it is, we call it. The insecurity is like a monster, it's also cancerous, it's eating. People don't really know that they're already having wounds, because the typical Nigerian now feels so numb. There was a time in Nigeria, if one person dies, that's a big headline. But now they'll just say, oh, it's just 3, it's just 5. So they've reduced the human value to just a number. And that is how far down the train we've gone. So what government needs to do is to become very decisive with their actions. If whoever is found culpable is given the hammer of the law, then everyone will know crime doesn't pay.
Okay, Doctor, from your submission, are you saying they should stop politicking and start acting?
Definitely, politics has not been a very good factor in our well-being. There are benefits to having democracy, but politics is being, killed by, democracy is killed by politics. You need politics to have a democratic government, you need politics to have a monarchy, you need politics to have whatever form of government you want to call it. For an average Nigerian who lived through the military junta and era to now that we have democracy experimented through like 3 regimes, we will always say the worst democracy is better than the best of military. That, no. But what is spoiling the games of our politics is the fact that the games of our democracy is politicking. Because politics comes with sentiments, politics comes with value system that is tailored towards victory at all costs. And when you want something without following the human value system of respect for the human right, respect for the human value, then you are going to a good end through a bad means. That is what politics looks like. Where you have people jumping from one political party to another, speak so much evil about the political party they just left, to the one they have been condemning like all their life, and now they want you followers to still vote that party in. So we don't really have ideologies like you have in other countries, where somebody will say, I'm a Democrat for life.
But Doctor, looking at the issue of ideology,
Yes.
so to speak, we know that Nigeria as a country, have diverse political parties. In fact, we cannot sit down here and to mention the number of political parties we have. And I think that every political party should have a political ideology.
Yeah.
So are you of the opinion that there should be, a unifying factor in terms of ideology, or you're saying that we have to kill the party interest and focus on ideological goals as a country? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, that is if we have men of integrity, because ideology is backed by integrity, the ability to be resolute, to be, this is what I believe in and I'll die for. And if you don't have that kind of mentality, ideologies held by political parties will just be like something that the wind can blow here and there. But men of integrity will stick with whatever they believe. And if they believe that humans should be given a chance to express themselves, they will also have a line to say, in this expression, there should be boundaries. Just the same way, your human rights is freedom of speech, but it shouldn't be at the expense of somebody's emotional health. If you talk down on somebody because of tribe or faith or religion, then your expression, the freedom to express yourself, becomes a problem. So such ideologies has to be carried along by men who will say, here is the boundary. I'm a member of this party, but I won't stick my neck to agree to this. This is wrong. So if we have such men ideology, but again, the umpire that bets the emergence of new administration, INEC, has not really been independent. So that's the most independent body that is supposed to have such powers to get things done, but is so dependent upon the presidency, up to a point where the presidency decides the fate of who leads such a body. Until we're able to get it right from there outwards to how the parties should function, the regulation and the umpire status of INEC is also a big challenge.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Doctor, I am not going to continue because of the way we are going. I'm sure that I impacted a lot. But again, everything that I have a beginning must surely have an end. But just before we go, Doctor, I know that you're a figure in the ASU. And I also know that the issue of ASU and federal government have been a turbulent one that is coming back to academics now. And so I don't know what have to say, but I want to have been the specific factor that have continually ginger that particular scenario, because we see it recurring. So it's not like a recurring decimal. Every 6 months or a year, you see, ASU going on strike, and almost the same, scenario repeat itself. What could be the cause and possibly what are the measures we can use to tackle that from your angle?
So ASU is one of the most underappreciated, misunderstood body in Nigeria. Underappreciated and misunderstood. As far as I'm concerned, it's not because I'm a member of this union. I would want to say, just like Rufai said, I'm an accidental civil servant in his book, The Accidental Civil Servant. I am an accidental unionist. Again, this goes back to my stint with presidency of Botany Unical, heading the corpus body. I joined ASU not because I wanted a position of power. I was chosen to be the secretary of academic staff, So, but haven't learned the ropes. I understand the value, the ideology, and what drives ASU is the most disciplined union in Africa.
Are you saying that ASU did that integrity? Because the doctor, to be sincere, we have heard rumors, and perhaps we don't know how to decide. But we have heard rumors of ASU trying to, take side with the federal government to bend some rules, and
that's definitely not true. Now, what the government tries to do is weaken the collective strength of the union by creating division. So if you've heard of factions emerging in ASU, they don't live beyond a week. They die on arrival because the defining principles of ASU will mute and snuff out the life of anybody speaking discordant words. So what the government did is, these guys are so united. Injury to one is injury to all. And look at that. When you hear our songs of, you will understand that this is nobody that you can just kill. So all that you hear is also information that is misrepresented by government because they have their apparatus of information dissemination. So ASU has always been on the receiving end Imagine government agreeing with you as far back as decades ago, and each time the agreements that they agree, they never keep them to the fullest, and then we go back over the same thing, and now they are using, means to digress attention.
But I would trust this current ASU government.
I want to say that everyone who is new on the chair of leadership should be given the benefit of the doubt. This guy, the way ASU works, you must be a leader in different capacities. You rise in leadership before you ascend to the chair of the president of the union. So he's not a greenhorn, and he has been at the forefront of the struggle. The current ASU president, who just took from a building, so he is as good as the one who left. So that is the thing, and I want to quickly say this. If you have a government or a design of administration that is like a system, driven by the system, and not an individual driving the system. I give you a classic analogy. Your car is a system. If you give the key to your friend here, and he goes to that car, all he needs to follow the principle of inserting the key into the ignition, igniting the engine, engaging the gears, reverse, or drive. And the car will move, irrespective of whether or not he's the owner. And if he's a good driver, which is the only other factor where system counts, the car will move from point A to B. So Nigeria as a country will move from point A to B without you noticing the captain has changed. If the system is more superior to the individual, or we have a country where the constitution can be paneled, beaten into any way, and the constitutional provisions are not respected, the individual is law. Everything about him is like, whatever he says goes. So in ASU, system works, not individual. That is why our transition over the years, you won't feel this ASU is worse than the other ASU, is one ASU.
Okay, the ASU, does ASU only capture the interests of the students? Or just basically
whatever you see today, these buildings, the TED fund is a bet, is a brainchild of ASU. So government asks ASU, what do you want? Your complaint is poor funding, poor this, poor that. What should we do? You are intellectual, give us a solution. So ASU came up with a solution. Tax a percentage from every company in Nigeria. Let them pay to a body that will manage this fund. That's how tertiary education fund, or what it was, ETF, Education Trust Fund. The money was kept in trust for the Ministry of Education. Where is the money sourced from? Private companies. So this money is not from government. So anytime you see a TED fund building, salute ASU. It's the birth they gave back to TED fund. So imagine this university without TED fund. In fact, we call this university TED fund University because the government of this state seems not to have a structure that they can put a plate to and say, this is the structure built by the state government. So without ASU, without TED fund, there won't be education.
Thank you very much, Dr. Final words to our youth out there.
So I want to say that we should move from the ideology of certificate-driven economy to skill-driven economy. So you have a skill now. Perhaps you're not practicing what you studied. Here's an anatomist. If he goes into business and reasons like a businessman, that is the innate skill and quality in him. If you know you can do music, forget your certificate. We are being caged and boxed in by our titles. So I don't look at myself, first of all, as a doctor. Of course, in the next couple of years, I could be a prof. So sticking to title is a limitation. Drop your certificates, roll up your sleeve. That's my word for the youth. And do whatever you know is a gift from God to you. And if you don't do that, you have to answer to your Creator. Because He didn't give you the gift to stock, to keep somewhere, to hoard. It's for expression. So express yourself. Be bold. Dare to try and fail. If you don't fail, you will not know what the glory of victory is. Because only those who have tasted poverty can truly enjoy wealth. So dare to try and take your faith from government, your destiny from government. We have entrusted our destinies, our collective happiness to government for too long. That's why we suffer. Oh, I've been looking for a job for 30 years and you look miserable. Look for a way to create a job. So you won't have to wait for 30 years of frustration. So individual commitment to your well-being is the way forward.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much, Doctor, for this opportunity. Yeah. I think it was a great session and we enjoyed ourselves. If time would have permitted us, we would have keep on going and going because a lot of national issues, local issues that we need to engage in so that people out there can be impacted. But once again, I want to thank you for this privilege and this opportunity I've given to Pet Media and Events to engage you in this meaningful intellectual discussion. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.